Deion Sanders faces Turbulence in Colorado. Inside the fights, the fire, and the next chapter of Coach Prime's journey. A rough start to a new era. It was supposed to be a reset year in Boulder. A fresh beginning for Deion Sanders, the man better known as Coach Prime, who has spent the past few seasons not only transforming a football program but also fighting for his own health and legacy. After battling cancer, enduring long recovery days, and emerging from surgery with his trademark determination intact, Sanders returned to the Colorado Buffaloes this offseason with renewed energy. But as often happens in the world of football, reality rarely follows the script. Just weeks before the season opener, the Buffaloes' practice field turned from a stage of preparation into a battleground. Helmets cracked, fists flew, and the field itself morphed into something resembling a fight ring. What was supposed to be a showcase of discipline and unity became instead a storm of tempers, ego, and raw competitiveness. It wasn't the scene Deion Sanders had envisioned. Yet perhaps, in some strange way, it was exactly the sign he needed. That his team, even stripped of stars like Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, and Travis Hunter, was still hungry enough to fight tooth and nail, sometimes literally, for respect. The joint practice heatwave. The chaos wasn't confined to Boulder. Across the country in Charlotte on August 6th, the Cleveland Browns and Carolina Panthers were holding a joint practice. Rain soaked the field, but instead of cooling tempers, it seemed to ignite them. During a punt drill, safety Damontae Kazi and returner Trevion Thomas sparked a brawl that sent shockwaves through the sideline. The scuffle escalated quickly. Bodies collided, words sharpened, and before long, teammates had to intervene. For Shedeur Sanders, now a Cleveland rookie quarterback, the scene was a reminder of the high-wire act professional football often becomes. But back in Colorado, the echoes of that intensity would soon arrive at his father's doorstep. Colorado's own firestorm, the Buffaloes' fall camp was already intense. With Shedeur and Shiloh gone and Hunter, once the face of the program, no longer anchoring both sides of the ball, Deion Sanders had every reason to test his new roster hard. What he got, however, was a little too much fire. In one heated offense versus defense drill, freshman tackle Jordan Seaton and defensive end Samuel Okunlola clashed violently. Words became shoves. Shoves became punches. Soon, teammates Anquin Barnes Jr., Zarian McGill, and others joined in as the practice spiraled into chaos. Helmets slammed. Voices roared. The air crackled with the sound of metal and muscle colliding. Well-Off Media, the family-run YouTube channel documenting Sanders' every move, captured it all. It wasn't pretty, but it was passionate. Coach Prime eventually stepped in, pulling Seaton aside and demanding calm. The message was clear: fight hard, but fight within the game. Still, the incident revealed something Sanders has always valued: a competitive edge sharp enough to cut through doubt. Flashback. Spring practice brawl. This wasn't the first time Colorado's practices boiled over. Back in March, during the second week of spring camp, tensions erupted between redshirt freshman tight end Morgan Pearson and freshman lineman Cash Cleveland. The two exchanged blows in a scuffle that shocked onlookers. Teammates scrambled to separate them before the situation escalated further. For a few tense minutes, it looked as though practice might be derailed entirely. But once order was restored, Sanders made sure drills continued. That moment, like the August fight, underscored the fine line Colorado walks. A team desperate to prove itself, teetering between controlled aggression and uncontrolled chaos. Coach Prime's call for peace. Ironically, on the very morning of the August melee, Sanders had delivered a message of peace. Standing before his players, he urged them to protect something more valuable than glory or victories: their inner calm. Guard your peace like it's the most valuable possession you have, because it is. You can have whatever your heart desires of whomever your heart desires. But if you don't have peace, baby, it won't matter. Choose yourself over the mess that causes you stress. The words were poetic, but within hours, they were drowned out by the clashing helmets of his fiery roster. Why the fights make sense. Viewed in isolation, the scuffles may look like dysfunction. But for Colorado, they tell a different story. This is a team stripped of its household names. No Shedeur Sanders to command the huddle. No Shiloh Sanders patrolling the secondary. No Travis Hunter pulling double duty as one of the most dynamic two-way players in college football. Instead, Colorado enters the 2025 season with little national respect. They received just one pity vote in the AP poll from Jacksonville anchor Jamal St. Cyr, tying them with Louisiana Lafayette at number 48. For a program that had once been the darling of college football headlines, the slight stung. And when pride is bruised, fists sometimes follow. The fights, then, aren't just about immaturity. They're about hunger, about a roster clawing for respect, desperate to show the world that even without their brightest stars, they will not be ignored. Life without Shedeur and Shiloh. For the first time since 2022, Colorado will take the field without a Sanders in uniform. Deion himself acknowledged the strangeness of the transition at a recent luncheon. With his trademark humor, he quipped, "Especially not having Shiloh get on my last nerve." The line drew laughter, but beneath the joke lay a truth. This season is uncharted territory. "It's not easy," Sanders admitted. Replacing both sons is no small task. At quarterback, a battle rages between Kaidon Salter and five-star freshman Julian "Juju" Lewis. In the secondary and skill positions, new faces must step up to fill the void left by Shiloh and Hunter. And yet, Sanders insists the roster is stronger than ever. "I feel like, wholeheartedly, this is a better football team," he told reporters, pointing to depth at receiver with Amarian and Draylon Miller, as well as an improved defensive line anchored by Jordan Seaton. A staff built for battle. Part of Sanders' confidence stems from his staff. Even during his absence this summer, while undergoing bladder cancer treatment, the program didn't miss a beat. Veteran assistants, including Hall of Famers Warren Sapp and Marshall Faulk, kept practices sharp. Byron Leftwich, the former NFL quarterback, guided the offense and mentored the young passers. "I feel like our staff gets better and better every year. I feel like the roster gets better and better every year," Sanders said. This stability matters. In Sanders' absence, his program didn't stall. It evolved. The Prime Effect, beyond the field. Even in Turbulence, the Prime Effect continues to ripple far beyond the gridiron. Boulder's economy is thriving, boosted by national media attention and game day tourism. Enrollment at Colorado has surged since Sanders' arrival, with the program once again selling out season tickets for the third consecutive year. At the heart of it all is Sanders' ability to galvanize a community. Whether it's his charisma, his faith, or his relentless drive, the effect is undeniable. The goal? More than a bowl. Last season, Sanders made headlines when he promised 100-year-old Colorado superfan Peggy Copham that he'd get her to a bowl game. The Buffs delivered, giving Miss Peggy a memory for the ages. This year, Sanders has raised the stakes. "We want to get Miss Peggy to a bowl game and win." It's a simple goal, but one layered with meaning. Winning for Peggy is winning for Boulder, for Colorado, and for the very spirit of belief Sanders has instilled in the program. The road ahead. The Buffs open the season August 29th at Folsom Field against Georgia Tech, where they'll play 4 of their first 5 games. The schedule is unforgiving, the expectations muted, and the roster unproven. But as the fights in camp showed, this is not a team resigned to irrelevance. They are scrappy, fiery, and perhaps most importantly, unafraid. For Deion Sanders, this chapter is different. It is harder, lonelier without his sons, and heavier after his health battle. Yet it is also clearer. The fights, the fire, the turbulence, they are all part of the story. Because for Coach Prime, the journey has never been about the absence of struggle. It has always been about how you rise from it. Conclusion. Turbulence as fuel. The Colorado Buffaloes of 2025 are not the Colorado Buffaloes of 2023. They are not flashy underdogs riding Shedeur's arm or Travis Hunter's highlight plays. They are a reforged unit, raw, unpolished, and desperate for respect. The fights in practice, the laughter at luncheons, the quiet moments of reflection after cancer treatments. They all paint the picture of a coach and a team entering a new era. An era defined not by who they lost, but by how fiercely they fight to win. And for Deion Sanders, turbulence isn't the end of the journey. It's the fire that powers the climb.